All right. Well, you know what? Let me close my blind so they don't. Hold on. All right.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Sports Space Show. I am your host Byron, and alongside special co-host again, Eric's feeling better, and he will be back Friday, as he says. But welcome again, Darian Barnes, former football player of our Tampa Bay Bucks and other teams.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
So, how are you tonight?
A little nervous. Recently was on the current season of Worst Cooks in America. That airs tonight, so I'm kind of nervous about what that's going to look like.
I still gotta see that. I mean, much kudos to you for being a part of that.
You don't have to. You don't have to. It's gonna be insane.
I bet. I can't wait. So what? We got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We're going to have two former Major League pitchers on. We're going to have Garrett Mock on first at 9:10, and we're going to have on former MLB catcher who's been around for Greg's on. So let's get right into it. I know you looked up some topics for us, and so do you think the NBA will go through with this, knowing the fact that their players are stepping out saying, hey, we need to look at more of our community right now than playing the game for the rest of the year? Do you think the players will play, or do you think they'll want to stay with their community?
I'm going to be honest with you. I had it off. I don't know. Sorry,
you're good.
My wife is.
You're good.
Okay. So, there's a lot. I mean, obviously, we all know there's a lot happening in our country right now. I mean, all over the world, but in our country. And, what I don't, I honestly don't know, because I think I'm two minds of it. Like, you could play basketball and give the citizens of this country something to take their minds off of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
But on the same note, like, I forget what it's called, but it's the one of the guy sitting in the room and everything's on fire, and it just there's a little caption that says, "This is fine."
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think that that's kind of where we're at. Like, things aren't good. Things aren't okay, And if we pretend that they are, then sports can try to go along as we're used to them being, and then something, catastrophic could happen. There's already teams now that have tried to open up the training camps across all sports spectrums, and COVID has
as we talked about Friday, and I totally agree with you with everything it's I want, just like you, I want sports to happen, but I mean, we can't let sports go away like people a flu. So are we supposed to stop? It's almost like it. You have the same symptoms. You have the same symptoms.
You don't have the same symptoms. Like,
it just affects older people more.
Listen, from what I try to watch and read from different spectrums of liberal conservative thought, and I think the general consensus that I have is that we don't really know the full capabilities of this virus. We know that it does affect older people,
and it affects people with underlying medical conditions
instantly, and it affects them underlying medical conditions. And we know that it's robust in its transmission to people, right? Like, we know that, but we don't have enough empirical data to definitively say that the virus is going to do X, Y, and Z, and create predictive models to combat it. So if we don't have that empirical data that we're used to obtaining, not that we're used to obtaining, but like that we're traditionally have trusted our leaders across government and corporate and social specters to give us. It's hard to say what this virus does and how it's going to transmit, because this virus has shown that it's touched our society, our culture, our society, it's touched our economy, and we need more data to combat it. So yes, does it have flu-like qualities? Yes. Is it the flu?
I'm not saying. So. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the flu, but
no. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be around like the flu is. We can't get rid of it. Basically, from what I'm hearing, and we can't let. Yes, I mean, this year's fine with sports, but I'm talking about next year and like concerts and all that. We can't stop those, because that's like saying you basically want to stop them until this virus goes away. Basically what Fauci and them want, but it's not going to happen. This virus is not going to go away, no matter how much you try to.
How many? So my question to you would be, how many lives do we have to lose until we try to change things? So what you're saying to me right now is the 115 or so thousand lives we've lost doesn't equate to us trying to get back to normal. And I don't want to say that you're saying that to me, but what we have not done is we haven't really valued, to me, human life. And it's all human life. We haven't valued it in this respect, because if we had, we wouldn't be talking about opening things up while we were watching people get sick. There was a rally last night, and let's hope that it doesn't. It's not. This has become a new hot zone, because the cases in Oklahoma are rising.
And so is Florida. And so is.
We have to value human life, whether it has underlying conditions, whether it's old, whether it has health insurance. We're doing that in the way that we should, to me, collectively, yeah. We're just not. And when we are doing that, we're going to stop having these conversations about when do we open sports back up. Like when do we, and those things, again, I think the country could use a distraction. I don't know things that are ailing this country collectively, then it's not worth it, because people are dying, and we have to keep that in account. We all know someone who's passed away from this, in some way, shape, or form. We might not know someone personally, but either we know someone personally or we know someone who is around it. We all have friends who are nurses and who work in the hospital industry.
Okay, but let me ask you this: as a former, before we get into Garrett, I gotta ask you this: and as a former player, though, if this happened in your time, and you say you were playing in this time, what would your mind be thinking as a player, though? Even if you say, I know you want to protect your family too, but I mean, how do you handle the two? Because you're still getting paid regardless, but you're also you're losing out on what your everyday life is for 6 months of the year for most of these sports. So how would you balance that out, basically?
So to answer that question, and not to give you a convoluted answer, I'm 40 years old, and the 40-year-old me thinking about the 25-year-old me, the 20-year-old me playing football. I still think I would value life, and if you're going to be put in an environment where you're basically saying, we don't want you to play, knowing there's a chance you could get this virus, and knowing there's a chance that you can die from it, I think the answer is still no. I think you adjust. And I think that's the thing. Like we've been adjusting to the virus in piecemeal, right?
Right.
We have to adjust to the virus collectively, and I think that's, as a race of humanity, basically, we're not even going to be able to deal with it, or say, we can't even say it's here, let's just deal with it and move on, because this virus in 3.5 months has killed 115,000 people.
Yeah.
It's insurmountable, and it's going to kill 100,000 more.
Yeah.
Because we haven't dealt with a nationwide lockdown or quarantine, or because we haven't done the contact tracing. Like these things are going to happen.
Right.
And we hope that they don't. So we just, I think any talk about we're trying to reopen our economy, and I understand, and I understand the reason why we want to do that, because we don't want the country to tank, because people will get hurt that way too. But as long as people are dying from this disease, from this virus, and as long as there's no answer to how to fix it, coronavirus is a wave, right? It's a wave, and there's a wall on the shores of our land. Mm. And this wave, until we fix it together uniformly, right? This wave is just going to keep crashing back and forth along the wall. It's bouncing. It's going to gain momentum, and it's going to bounce off one wall, and it'll die in one place, and then it's going to rise, and it's going to just wash over us until we all just say, enough. Let's do what it takes to get rid of it so we can move on and figure out what the new normal is.
Definitely. And I'd like to say this before we move on to mock. We will definitely talk more about this. I'm going to call him up now.
Okay.
So we can get him on the line, because I definitely would like to. I mean, this is definitely part of society, so I want to talk more about it. Good conversation about his career, and see if he's still listening to baseball.
Yeah. What are you doing? Huh?
Hey, Garrett? Can you hear us? Hold on. I don't know if we got him or not.
Hello, this is Garrett Mark with the Garland Company. Sorry I missed your phone call. Please leave me a detailed message along with your name and phone number, and I will get back to you at my earliest opportunity. Thanks.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Well, that didn't go for him as well, so I'm gonna try one. We're gonna... God bless you, Garrett. So, yeah, let's get back right to it then, what we were talking about then. Yeah, I mean, you were saying it's true. I mean, it has killed a lot of people. It just sucks because it's... I mean, you want everything to come back, you get some kind of normalcy, which it has here in Florida. I don't know about you up there in New Jersey, New York area, but...
up here we've been basically on a quarantine. We're still in our quarantine. I think we're just about to enter we've entered phase 2, which like salons and barbershops and those kind of things have been able to open up again. Well, I think starting, I think it's the 21st. Today's 21st. I don't know, the days are blending together. I don't even know what day it is. But those things are going to start opening up. So we're slowly starting to get back to normal. But again, it's just with serious trepidation. You know, it's you know, I have four daughters. I have a 14-year-old daughter. Well, happy Father's Day to you too, Byron.
Thank you.
Like, it's just a day. You know,
Thank
it's to me, it's just a day I'm, you know, hanging out. But
well, yeah, I got 2 of my own. You said yourself you got how many?
4.
4. So there, yeah. So
you know, we're really, you know, she's gone out. She's seen some of her friends, but we've been very like just cautious about it because, you know, it's not, you know, we don't want her to contract it, and or if she has or hasn't or has the antibodies. We don't know. We don't know the state of our child. We don't want her to give it to anyone else. We don't want her to catch it.
Right.
But we gotta let her. Well, she's 14 years old. She can't. You know, she's already been in the house. She's already driven me and my wife absolutely insane. So, you know,
right.
we gotta let her get out with your friends. So it's, you know, it's difficult, and there's a lot of hard decisions that we have to make as a family, and we don't have all of the most pertinent information that's there because you're just getting information from all different sides. So it's hard, but it's starting to come back here. I don't know if it'll stay. I don't know what school's going to look like in September. And I know that, you know, down there, you guys in Florida, you guys are really starting to go through it. I think
again, the second wave. Second wave, yep.
And it's not. We're still in the first wave. This is the spike in the first wave. So.
Well, down here, it's the second wave because it went away for a while. I didn't hear about it that bad here, that much, up until they started opening everything.
I gotta believe, if you want any indicators on what you're going to deal with in the next coming months, I think you look at New York as a barometer. Well, I don't know if you look at New York as a barometer because New York, they shut everything down. You know, has your governor made any announcements that everything's getting shut down, or is
no.
it still things are still pretty much open?
He plans to stick forward like he did originally before he was forced to shut everything down. He didn't really want to because Republicans don't want to shut everything down because they know about the economy and people losing jobs, businesses going out. He's a Republican like Trump. They want everything to be open. So he's been stick forward from the beginning before he was forced to shut everything down. He wants everything to stay in contact. So he's, from what I understanding, he don't want to shut anything down.
Well, I gotta tell you, it might be tough sledding for a while then, because if you're going to not shut everything down and keep everything open, you know, my hope is that the virus doesn't find a way to shut things down for you, you know. And I think that's the kind of, do we shut things down before the virus shuts things down for us? And how bad is it going to get down there, you know, until it's time to really consider some measures to kind of figure out what's going on. And I think in letting every state kind of make that decision, it's going to put the nation as a whole in dire straits. And the nation, it has been in dire straits, and hopefully the economy stays afloat. But it looks like we're already in a recession. There was last week 13 million people went on unemployment last week.
Yeah.
And that seems like it's going to be an upward trend until we figure out how to have an economy and have people safe, you know.
Yeah, and I hope we get through this. I know we will eventually. It's just gonna take some time. But now let's get into some more sports news.
Okay.
I just heard this, just breaking just in, I don't know how long ago this was, but I've been watching ESPN since before we started the show. A source is saying Dak Prescott is going to sign his franchise tag. What do you think about that from Friday's show when we got debated on that? What do you think about that?
I think it's the best move he can make. I think he knows I think his time in Dallas is short. I think that him and that offense is not conducive to what he does, and it makes total sense that he signs his franchise tag. I think it's a good move for him. I think hopefully he doesn't get hurt. I think he plays lights out football, and if they make the offense conducive to his abilities, he's going to have a lot of success. If they continue on the path that they're on, he can go somewhere else, hopefully, and continue his career, I think.
Yeah, but do you think though why he had to sell this franchise tag is because he himself realizes maybe that the Jones don't have any faith in him yet to be their main quarterback?
I don't think they've given him any indication that he's the guy.
So then why not just flat out pay him then? This is what I'm not understanding.
Because he doesn't fit the offense they want to run at all. Watching the Dallas Cowboys, watching their offense all year last year. That offense is not, to me, a Dak Prescott offense. And you don't see. I think quarterbacks they're the one position that you don't build a quarterback independent of an offense. Like offenses aren't plug and play. That's college football. They're plug and play because you can go recruit the athlete that you want. The NFL is a little different. Like you can't necessarily. You can draft maybe the guy you think is going to be the guy that's going to run the offense, but you're not. The NFL is more like you have to find the guy for your offense. But if that guy performs, then you have to make the offense work for that guy. Like it's not like a running back or, all attack and run block, and they have some intangibles that make them elite. Quarterbacks, Tom Brady's not going to go to Tampa Bay to run Tampa Bay's offense. Tampa Bay is going to become Tom Brady's offense because that's just the nature of the position. It's the nature of the sport.
Yeah.
So you're building an offense that doesn't compute with the quarterback you have. You're not going to pay that quarterback. That's just the reality of it. And I think that he knows that too.
This is where it varies between me and you, though. I mean, kudos to him for signing that, turning into a Kirk Cousins idea and all that with all that. But if you really, as you said, since it's not seeing Cowboys offense, yeah, it's right. It's not what Prescott runs. Okay? So knowing that, why would you want to put up with the torment of having to sign a franchise tender? Why not just try and go to a different team then?
Because he doesn't have any other options. He has no other options. He's got trying to get another team to sign him. No team's gonna sign him. Wait, isn't Cam Newton still in the market?
Yeah.
He's still. Why the hell would I? Why would I go?
Well, there's a big difference between him and Cam, though. Cam is. We don't know about Cam because he can't stay healthy. We don't know about Cam. Dak Prescott, to my knowledge, has not been hurt that much compared to Cam.
He hasn't been hurt, but there's no There is no. I can't look at a team right and be like.
You can see him as the Jaguars QB. He would fit that style.
There's no style to fit in Jacksonville. They don't know who they are. It's haphazard. You can put that like again like you're not gonna. I don't see where Dak Prescott had a choice. I just don't see it. I think he signs his tag. I think he plays the best role he can. He gets out and he looks to go somewhere and start. But I wouldn't. I'd sign my tag and I wouldn't stay there. I would be gone.
I agree with you. I just don't think the Jones want him. I really don't.
They don't. Jones. I think Dallas is looking for the Troy Aikman, and they're not getting it because Troy Aikman couldn't play in this league. This is a different league. It's not built. It is not built for the Troy Aikman type. Think about it. Tom Brady is the GOAT, right?
Yeah.
But Tom Brady and Drew Brees, those guys are dinosaurs in this league. They're not. They're in terms of like not. They're the best quarterbacks this league has to offer, but they're dinosaurs. Philip Rivers, these guys who are pocket passing gunslingers, they just don't. Hell, Matt Ryan, amazing quarterback, dinosaur. The league is moving towards this like all encompassing run, to be the it guy, to be all that can do all, and might have to rush for 7. You got to do that. So again, I don't think they're going to find a Troy. I think they don't have. They're not going to find a Troy Aikman. I don't think you should try to find a Troy Aikman. I think you got to try to find a guy who can. You're looking for Lamar Jackson, a Deshaun Watson, a Patrick Mahomes. Like you're looking Russell Wilson. Like you're looking for the mobile quarterback. You just hope that your mobile quarterback can run an offense that can make decisions, make in-game decisions that can, not just beat man coverage with a big arm. So.
And there is a little bit more of NFL news I'd like to get into, but do you want to get into Greg's on right now? Thompson, you were telling me on her fantasy team.
Yeah. She was my wife's a big fantasy baseball player.
How well did he fare in the fantasy team for ESPN?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, hold on. It won't be over. It won't be over Skype. It'll be on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, cause he lives in Canada, and I don't have that subscription. So.
You don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's give him a call right now. Hey Greg, welcome to the Sports Space Show. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
Glad to have you. And my co-host Darian wants to start off with some questions for you before I get into mine.
Hey Greg.
Okay.
Darian, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, brother.
Awesome. Yeah, I was on 8 different teams in the course of my football career. Can you talk to me a little bit about that experience?
Well, for me, it was just one of those things. In the position being the backup catcher, I was a backup the first part of my career, and then, miraculously, I transitioned to being a starter after my 8th year. It's just one of those things. Being a backup catcher, it's hit and miss. Like flip a coin whether a guy has success. And back then they were looking at a lot of different variables as to what that was a considering. Flip a coin whether a backup guy was going to have a good year. Because back then, the starter, he caught 6 out of 7 games. Nowadays, they can't handle out of 7 games. They need like a tandem the whole time. They don't even have any clue what it's like to go through that. So when you're only playing, 30, 40 games a year, 50 games a year, tops, it's flip a coin whether you're going to have success. I mean, you could be a good player, a good catcher, and you just never know whether the cards are going to, fall for you. The dice is going to roll in your favor. That's why back then it used to be all about defense. It was the backup catcher position was, just go out there and call a good game. Thing offensively, it's gravy, and we'll be happy. And that's the reason why people like me bounced around so much. It was, up 1 year, down the next. A couple of good years, sign a big contract. And so you just never know what was going to happen. But, people saw the value in your catching, your defense, and your game calling. And that's why a lot of teams, became my employer. It was a weird process early on, and then it changed a little bit for me later on.
Wow, awesome. Okay. So, what do you think the hardest part about all that was? Like, I know, me bouncing around and my kids were born, it was tough kind of going from city to city and trying to learn not just the team culture, but the places you were around. And I kind of felt like it was the fun part, but it was also kind of the monotonous part of just trying to get ingrained in the culture right away. Like, what was the hardest part for you, doing all that traveling?
Well, back then there wasn't a whole lot of difference between one team and the other. I mean, baseball culture was baseball culture. Nowadays people make such a huge thing out of if you were an older guy, you played the game the right way and you showed the young guys how to do it. That was industry wide. Now it's who's got the magic formula for this metric or this leadership, Tony Robbins, seminar or whatever that's going from team to team was just family, just where are we living? You pretty well put down roots in a place where you wanted to live and you kept it separate from your professional life. So for me it was Texas for most of my career. I love the fact that Texas was a no state income tax place, so I bought a home there, set up a home base, and then we would rent an apartment in the city that I was playing in, and that was really the hardest part, was understanding how to keep a balance between your family life and respecting the city and the team that you played for, and trying to develop free agency. And the hardest part is the unknown. Is not knowing where you're going to be spending most of your time next year.
Right. Definitely. I'm sure Darian knows that, because as you said, you've been, 8 different teams, Darian? So, I'm sure fortunately you know what that is. So, I want to get into now, it says you were on the 97 World Series Marlins team. Take us back through that year. What was it like winning the championship? Because you guys, if I remember correctly, I may have been 6, but I remember you guys weren't entitled to win anything that year, but then you proved everybody wrong when you beat the mighty Indians that year. So what was it like?
Well, I don't know if I would have gone, that far. Like people accuse Wayne Huizenga of finding the World Series. We had the best roster in the game of baseball. We underachieved all year. The Atlanta Braves were the class of the National League at that point, and we spanked them around all year. We had a bunch of all-stars on our team, and we played the worst baseball of our season and still beat the Indians in the World Series because of Tony Fernandez error and some managing gaffes by Mike Hargrove. We had the third. The Indians. They weren't even the best team in the American League at that point. Shouldn't the World Series? Yeah. Been able to distance myself from all of the drama, like the anxiety and all that stuff, and truly been able to enjoy it. I'm only really able to enjoy it now, looking back at it and reveling in all of the success of my teammates. I can't really take too much credit for any of it. I mean, I made a major contribution during the regular season, but I barely played during the post. Caught the last three innings in Game 7 of the World Series that I didn't get on the ground, by the way. In Game 7 of the World Series, hilarious. Yeah, it's what me and my family laugh about at Christmas. So back at it, it was just one of those things where, man, I wish I could have enjoyed it while it was happening. Super group of guys, really special. I mean, guys, like, there hasn't been an all-star squad assembled like that one since. I mean, you look at Moises Alou in his prime, Gary Sheffield in his prime, Kevin Brown in his prime, Edgar Renteria, right, and
a young Jack.
Our bullpen, Rob Ned throwing 101 miles an hour, Jay Powell, Dennis Cook. I mean, you're talking about a prime team, a group of guys that were in their prime. I was in my third year in the big leagues. Don't forget Charles Johnson had probably the best statistical season of a catcher in the history of Major League Baseball. He had zero been done since. So a really special group of players. Really, really humbled to have been a part of it. But I laughed when people even talk about that group in any other way other than to say that might have been the best baseball team ever assembled, and we underachieved all year and still won it. Underachieved and still won it.
I mean, you think, like you said, you had a list of, I mean, it was literally the two best teams in baseball that year. I mean, you were up against a young Manny Ramirez coming up in his prime. You were up against a Kenny Lofton. I mean, it's a who's who. A Brian Anderson, young pitcher that was just as good. That's now an analyst for the Rays. I mean, that team was literally loaded. Jim Thome.
Omar Vizquel. Omar
Vizquel.
Travis Bryman. I can't remember. Maddie something or other. I can't remember the last name of the guy, the third baseman. Jared Wright was a stud that year for the Indians. Thome, we didn't even mention Jim Thome. Trust me when I tell you, good bats. We had better pitching. And we underachieved. But, I will say this, and I give the Indians all the credit in the world. Had it not been for Hargrove's panic when he brought in Jose Mesa, he should have left Jared Wright in another inning because he had been dominating us the entire series. If he hadn't have brought Jose Mesa when he did, the Indians probably win that World Series. And if Tony Fernandez doesn't make that error, the Indians probably win that World Series. And 4 times in his interview, we underachieved that entire season and we still won the World Series.
Right. I mean, I just recently saw, I totally forget, I don't know how I forget this game, but I just saw it recently in the quarantine times. I saw it on FM 4 or 5, the 13 strikeout performance. What did you think of that performance in that game against the Indians, that World Series? What did you think? That 13 by I believe it was El Duque was the one who did it, I think?
No, Levon Hernandez, that's El Duque's brother, the eventual MVP of the series.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry, my mind drew a blank.
Levon's one of those guys who I would go into the most serious battle of ability to adapt on the fly. His career was a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But in my opinion, I'll take that guy in Game 7 of the World Series in his prime over a bunch of other dudes. Was in spring training of 2004. One of the best guys I've ever met in my entire life. Just a super guy. And just a ballsy performer. He threw strikes with his fastball. He changed speeds. He could hit. He He can run the bases. And not to mention he's a single-digit handicap golfer. Like this guy was an athlete. Forget about the body. Forget about all the other stuff. Man, he put a World Series ring on my finger and took thousands of dollars out of my.
So you're saying you're not good at golf? Then is that what you just said?
No, I'm good at golf. He's better.
Ah, okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm really good at golf. He's better.
I gotcha. So, since he was a pitcher, then I gotta ask you, you've been in your 19-year career, you've seen and been taken a lot of pitches from a lot of different pitchers. You like catching for the least?
Horrible question. I'm gonna get pummeled no matter what I answer. Yeah. So you know what? I love catching for Roy Halladay. He was easy. It was an easy game for me because he did all the research himself. It was an easy day off. All I had to do was keep Roy from being predictable, which was tough because he was stubborn and hard-headed, but still great. One of the guys that I can't really pinpoint who I hated the catching for the most, but one of the top 5 guys I hated catching for the most was Ted Fast. He wasn't a smart guy. He was it was to the point where it was almost physically dangerous. You'd be reaching for a ball and you'd be like terrified that somebody told him to stop doing it. He just kept doing it. And you know, I remember the day that him and John Gibbons got in a fight in the tunnel. I was sitting in the dugout and I watched it all happen. I watched Teddy go down the tunnel. I watched Gibby go down. There's heads apart. Like, because I couldn't stand Gibby, and Teddy had defied the orders of hey, stop doing that. So my 2 least favorite people in the world on the baseball field were going to fight each other, and I was like, man, is there a way they're going to kill each other? Holy crap!
I bet you enjoyed that, didn't you?
Oh my God! I have a classic video. I don't know who sent it to me, but somebody took the video from you see me move. All you see is the back of my head, and then you see me start to chuckle. And I'm like, I don't know who to root for right now.
Right.
I just want them to fight each other and like do as much damage to one another as they possibly can. Because I can't stand either one of them. Just absolutely tear each other apart. It was one of the funnest moments of my life. Right player or a broadcaster. That was my favorite moment in the face.
I have to agree with you on that. I really do.
Oh
I did
God,
not like.
It was so hilarious. And then listening to him after the fact talk about how, it takes a way bigger man to knock me out. I'm like, dude, I fight. I'm a boxer. I've been knocked out on my feet. And what I would have sent Bautista out of the field on a stretcher. Had he not gotten in the way, Bautista would be a footnote. And I'm like, oh my God. So, like I said, the Ted Lilly, John Gibbons fight, that would be one of the second.
You know what you should.
Bautista getting knocked out by Odor was classic.
You know what you should have did in that fight. Yes, you should have been like that. That would have been funny.
Because trust me, unless you've been knocked out, unless you've been punched out, you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what it feels like. He can tell all the stories in the world about how, he didn't do anything for me. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm not too proud to admit because I box and I fight heavyweight, super heavyweight, and I'm in the ring with big boys all the time, 250, 6'7", heavyweight professional fighters. I get in there and I spar with them, and it looks like and Bautista all the BS he wants about how Rodur wasn't man enough to knock me out. And I'm like, dude, come on, you were knocked out.
Darian, he saw that, and so did I. But Darian has a question on your boxing career, if you don't mind answering it for him.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to know. I've taken kickboxing in the past. It's something I love, and when I saw that you boxed, I wanted to ask you: did switch hitting help you with your feet in terms of, if you're either right-handed or a southpaw? I wanted to ask you if switch hitting helped you with your boxing at all because you were kind of used to using both sides of your body. If that makes any sense.
Well, I fight left-handed. It's really, really weird. I mean, I'm a natural right-handed guy, but I fight left-handed for some reason. I don't know why. I've always fought left-handed. When I was, into Kempo karate, I fought left-handed. When I started boxing, I still fight left-handed. The switching thing made, it made my hooks good from both sides. Like if you're a right-handed fighter, you got the jab, you got the straight right. And then you've got, the big, you get the little tip tap, when myself in certain situations where I'll switch my stance and I'll switch from southpaw to orthodox, and he hates it. But I just like it because it puts my strong, one of my strong hands, I think I got equally strong hands, it puts the big hand in, and every once in a while, if you know anything about the game, you're going to catch one. Even the worst fighter, if you're not careful, will catch you. And that's the part about the sport that's so beautiful. You got to be on your toes, take the place of blocking balls. So that's where I'm from. But games that I call, and you ask Jamie Campbell anytime she ever gets a chance, how many didn't fall down? I'm like, it don't matter, dude. You're blowing you over and you're done.
Well,
yeah, I've been knocked out on my feet before. I know the feeling.
All his career until he finally could, sugarcoat him getting knocked out or, him thinking, So that doesn't surprise me with Jose Batista.
Well, he wasn't always like that, man. When his first year with the Blue Jays, I was still there. He was respectful. You know what? He led the league in homers a couple of years, and he grew an ego and a half. And one of the things that I'm thankful about, with this coronavirus, is I didn't have to see Jose Bautista try to make a career as a pitcher. He's out there trying to become a major league pitcher, and I was like, "Are you kidding me, dude? Just walk away. You got millions of dollars. Just be done."
I heard that. I was like, no.
Come on, dude. There's a reason why nobody wanted you after. The Blue Jays gifted him an $18 million contract in his last full season. And nobody wanted you in the clubhouse because people knew about the game. Like they knew what it was like. I mean, you can't. People talk in this game. There's gonna be a lot of people out there that talk shit about me. But trust me, when you're a bad teammate, when you're not in it for the right reasons, when you're in the clubhouse and you're rubbing people the wrong way, even the guys that shine your shoes are going to tell stories about the bench. If he was willing to do that, I would have fired him a contract right away. But dude, you got to be realistic. You can't be asking for 18, 20 million just because you led the league in homers a couple of years and you happen to have one big moment that nobody else besides the fans of Toronto give a rat's ass about.
So then, me and my co-hosts have a few questions for you about relating to today as well, because I know about all this going down between the distrust between the owners and the players, and what can Manfred do to fix it?
About this, this thing is done.
Mm-hmm.
What's a 40, 50, 60 game season going to do for the game of baseball? It's over. They've ruined it.
Right.
Okay? But COVID ruined it, and everybody's paranoia. I have very strong feelings about what the reality of COVID is. But I'm no scientist or doctor. I just know that, the reality is it's almost July, and they haven't played a game yet. So let's call it what it is. So the next year, so next October and November, all the fighting was going to start. They're going to negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement. And so what's the lesser of two evils? You say to yourself, how about we just play real hardball right now, demolish this season, which is already screwed anyway, and save ourselves the embarrassment of losing an entire baseball season because we're fighting over money.
Right.
They're just going to go ahead and demolish the season because they knew they had a huge fight coming. So go ahead, wash this one completely out, get yourself going on the real issues. Have your fight down. Take your stance. Because what we are looking at right.
Oh, lost him. Let me call him back. There we go. I'm gonna try one more time with him. I didn't mean to. It just sucks with connection, I guess. It happens, like you said.
Yeah, that's all good, man.
Hopefully he'll answer back and is not mad at us. Kind of a little bit upset.
So, it is what it is, man.
If he calls back, he will. I will surely answer it. But I want to get into something we didn't talk about on Friday, though. I want to ask your take as a former football player. What do you think? What do you think about Goodell finally admitting his wrongs about what the NFL did with Kaepernick? And do you see Kaepernick getting another chance in playing if indeed he wants it? Because we haven't heard anything from him yet.
It's always good when you stand for something. So I think for him to do that was a big step. But I also think that every time something happens, the NFL finds a way to make a marketing campaign out of it, right? So and this is kind of how our society is built, because we're like obsessed with money. I think the NFL throwing money at this what the world needs is genuine structure to fix things, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think it's true at all. Really, and I think it's important that he said that. I think it's more important that the NFL start to dealing with systemic racism in this country, because you can't position yourself as America's like a pastime for every day when my team plays.
Hey, that's him calling back. Hold on, hold that thought. That's him. Yep. Yeah, continue your thought.
Yeah, I don't know where we left off. What you guys got on tape?
What you talking about? That the league just needs to cancel the season. That the players and the owners are disputing their battle now instead of next year, and all that.
Yeah, no, I just think that they already know that the season's a wash. I mean, it's not. I mean, come on, really, 40, 50, 60 games. Is anybody going to care about that? I mean,
No.
Postseason, whatever, and then of course there's not going to be any fans in the stands, whatever. They know that this season's a wash, and they've been complaining about the CBA since they negotiated the last one. They literally massage therapists, freaking nutritionists, this and that, all this nonsense that doesn't mean anything. Instead of the free agency is that you get to 6 years of service time. Go play where you want, negotiate a proper salary. That's all it is. I mean, there are a myriad of things that are wrong with Major League Baseball, like the fact that a kid can be the first pick of the draft and make more money by signing his name to a contract that was earned 100% against amateur players, 99% of which will never see for signing their name. You're going to offer them more than the average big league player makes in a year. It's disgusting. It's insulting to every major league player. It's offensive to anybody that's ever played the game, in my opinion, who has a brain in their head. Major league player makes in a year? For what? You haven't done a damn thing. And so, and I've said, there's a number of things. Anticipation trophy kids. Guys have never been held accountable for a damn thing in their life.
Right.
Money days everything in their lives. They foobarred the last collective bargaining agreement because they're soft and they wanted all these creature comforts. And now they're reaping the rewards, or lack thereof. They had two really horrible free agent markets where the ownership had the upper hand against them. And so now they need to fix it. So what are they going to do? Now we're going to be united. Now we're going to be all like, we're going to be brothers. Ooh, you're so strong. Because you've got nothing else to do except play Fortnite and, figure out what the issues are.
Yeah.
So, instead, shocked if they're making.
I agree with you on that too, because as I said this from the beginning, I've said this in numerous past shows. If you ever want to go back and listen to previous shows, I've said this in the past. I'm half and half on this. I'm half on the owners, half on the players. The reason why I say owners, half of it is the owners, is because they pay these players too, because you guys had a chance to play. I don't care what anybody says. You guys had a chance to play before anybody else. You guys didn't want to play because of the money issue going around. Not just COVID, which I understand that too, but the money. You guys were disputing over money in games. So, I mean, it's half and half, and I said this from the beginning, and I'm sticking towards. That's just my opinion. I'm sure I'm sure that's about your opinion too. It's half and half. It goes both ways.
You're a player, and you expect to get paid. If you only play 50% of the season, and you expect to get paid more than 50%, you're ridiculous. But here's the thing. The game's changed so much since I was a player. There's $500 million. All right, let's forget about where it comes from. Let's forget about where it goes. $9.5 billion. That's $4.75 billion to the owners and the players. So that means that even after the players are paid as a collective, $4.75 billion. And I think the notion of the employee making more money than the employers is ridiculous. And I played the game. There's no way in my mind that I can justify the players making exactly the same amount of money as the ownership. Okay? Ownership is easy money. Let's do this. Let's call it $4.75 billion for the owners, $4.75 billion for the players. Okay, yes, I know we're not including all the other employees and all the expenses, but just for the sake of argument, what do you think the average salary for what's the average salary for on? Let's pay rookies $550,000 US, which is an absolute joke. Really, you're paying the guys $500,000. $500,000. The rookie salary when I was a kid was like $175,000.
Jeez.
But $500,000. So divide $4.75 billion between 1,000 players. That sounds like a ton of money. I don't have the calculator in front of me, but it's 475 something. Is it $47 million a person?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't have a calculator either, but that sounds about right.
$47.5 million per player. If you were to just take half the money that the industry as a whole generates, each player, all equal, we're not even talking about just $6. This is my decimal points out of the way, but I think it's 47.5.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Take
It's
47.
40, 30?
By 30, yes. By 30.
530 million.
Yeah.
So
Divided by 500.
this is what we're arguing about. How ridiculous does it sound right now?
It does. It really does. It's ridiculous.
It sounds pretty ridiculous.
Let me.
But we're gonna sit there and we're gonna say who's gonna blink on who pays all the employees at the stadium. I'm like, oh really? You're an owner and you've got 530 million of that and pay the rest of the employees?
Jeez, I know, cause we.
Cry me a damn river. I'm like, and I've been saying this. The math can get. What are we arguing about, ladies and gentlemen?
Right.
What are we arguing about?
Right. Darian wanted because he did the math. He did the math. He wants to ask you. He wants to ask you the overall the results for it. What he did the math.
I got 4.75 billion divided by 530. That's the number, right?
Yes. 530.
Just want to make sure.
5 billion divided by 1,000 players, and we have to understand. We're talking about 1,000 players, 550, and the call-ups get a partial salary. We're not even talking about the Mike Trouts of the world. Like, we're oversimplifying this, but let's simplify it. Yes, is 4.75 billion divided by 1,000? Is that $47.5 million a player?
Yeah.
That's so 47.5 billion divided by 1,000 is 47,500,000.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yep, exactly what Greg said. Yeah.
Makes exactly the same wage.
This is a crony capitalism. This isn't communism. This is a shitload of money.
Now let's verify. Get your computer that high. Verify that 4.75 billion divided by 30 is 500 plus million. To $500 million.
You got that, Darian?
Hold on. Divided by 30.
4.75 billion divided by 30.
It's hold on a second because it's a lot of digits. Hold on. It's
a lot of digits.
It is.
4, 5, 6, okay, so it's 1,580,33 cents, and I'm guessing that 33 cents is going into infinity. That's a lot of goddamn money.
Jesus.
30 people.
No, it can't be right. 4.75 billion divided by 30.
Gee, Christmas.
You said billion with a B or million with an L.
Billion.
Billion.
He said billion.
4.75 billion divided by 30.
Divided by 30, it's 1,583,333,333.33.
That's crazy. $1 billion. Oh,
So
jeez.
So it's a billion. It's basically $1.5 billion every
No,
owner.
that's not billion. It's 158
Is it
billion
40?
is what it is.
Wait, is it 40? Is it 47.5 billion? Is that
No,
what? Or is it 4?
Said.
Yeah.
Okay,
4
4.75 billion divided by 30.
Right.
All right. So hold on. Let me. All right. So
Feels
we
like
got.
158 million.
Feels like it, yeah. I want to say that. I agree.
No, it's 1 million. It's 15 million.
Okay.
815 million.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I would have went for, or I would have went a little bit over. Yep.
Right. $158 million a year in profit. $158 million in profit. And this is what these people are arguing about. This is what they're arguing about. And I understand the Yankees are going to make more because they've got a huge television contract. But come on. Even the Yankees can admit that if they don't have a team in the other dugout to play against, they don't have a game. So there's a way to figure it out. We're oversimplifying the math, and I understand that some people deserve to make more than the others, rookies, veterans, New York Yankees versus, the Tampa Bay Rays. I get it, but to oversimplify things, if you just split the money down the middle, give the players $4.75 billion, give the owners $4.75 billion. Everybody's really stinking happy, but nobody's willing to even entertain an idea that makes any sense. Instead, they want to piss and moan about freaking massage therapists and how many days off they get.
Yeah.
When they're playing a stinking game, they're playing a stinking game for a living and riding around on private jets.
Yeah. True.
Sorry about it. I don't feel sorry for you one bit.
Right.
And neither are the fans. Fans are going to feel sorry about you, and the damage that these people have done to the game already, quibbling over this kind of freaking dollars and cents, it's gonna be worse than the '94 strike. I promise you.
Oh yeah, and I said this on previous shows as well. Like, me and my co-host said the same thing. That yes, we're baseball fans, and we ain't going to stop being baseball fans. But for the ones that are casual and don't really watch it much, they're going to lose those fans by far.
Well, I'll tell you what. Because Friday after this conversation, after we talked to why his name escaped me?
Mel Stoudemire.
I kind of felt hopeful for baseball, but listening to Greg talk now about what they're arguing over and kind of getting the flip side of like the issues, I don't know. I feel like I didn't think that this one was going to be as bad as the '94 strike. And that hurt because I was an Expos fan, like a diehard Expos fan. And they were going to win the World Series that year. I'll never stop saying that ever in my life. But I'll never stop.
Hunker down because it's going to get ugly. I don't even really think about it anymore because I can't even watch the game the way it is right now. Homer, strikeout, walk. Nobody puts the ball in play. Nobody can catch the baseball. Nobody runs the bases properly. All they do is bitch and moan and freaking, hold Twitter wars against one another. Nobody can pitch inside. Nobody can, the game's it's a farce. I barely even watch it anymore. I check in every morning and I listen to who's ranging into who's pissed about this, who feels entitled, who doesn't like the baseballs, who loves the baseballs, who's pissed about sign dealing when their signs are so easy, a 12-year-old can figure them out. It's like, come on, give me a break. This is like a knitting circle now. The game of baseball is a joke.
It's just It's
embarrassing.
I'm glad we're having this conversation because I'm glad we got two perspectives now. Because Friday, like Darian just said, we had Mel Stoudemire on, and he was totally positive that there might be a season. And then now we got you as a former player because you actually played it. He was a former player, but he didn't play that long. He was just he's been just a pitching coach. But that's why I'm glad I had you on too as a former player. It's just good to get these views, different views.
Well, there's going to be guys that are always going to spin the positive stuff. I spin the reality. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't care. There ain't nobody hiring me to do the job. I've applied multiple years to try to be a coach in pro ball, and everybody keeps telling me I'm not qualified because I don't know what the hell Rapsodo is. And I'm like, whatever. I don't give a rat's ass. You guys want to hear my opinion? Because I paid enough of attention to the game to understand what's going on. When you have my opinion, I'll tell you. Like I said, I got no worries about upsetting anybody because I wouldn't know I care about are the kid and understanding what's really going on. And what's really going on here is exactly what I told you. We've got two groups of people trying to figure out a way to divide $9.75 billion.
And we figured it out easily on a calculator.
Yep.
Well,
not that difficult.
They're trying to figure it out with a floundering economy and with no idea what baseball's going to look like in a year and a half. So, if you ask me, they're trying to figure out how to divide $97 billion, but it ain't that. It's not that much money because, if baseball has to go to a format where there's no people in the stands and it's got to compete with, baseball, we watch it on TV, and everybody knows already that nobody watches TV anymore. We watch our iPads, we watch our computer screens, we watch our devices. If baseball's got to compete with that, what does baseball look like in a year and a half? And I wanted to ask you, what do you think it looks like if we're not dealing with, if we haven't dealt with COVID, if we haven't dealt with, if we haven't kind of structured our society to combat this disease in a way where we can all kind of get back to normal, what is baseball going to look like a year and a half from now? Do you have any idea?
It'll look likely the same. It doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on whether you're watching it on your iPad or your phone or whatever. Major League Baseball is still going to control their property. They understand that. They're still going to get paid. And trust me when I tell you, the Yankees don't give a rat's ass whether anybody comes to the stand. They make more money off their just amount of money. How's the game going to look? I don't think they really even care. Like this COVID thing is a societal thing. Look at the way we're dealing. Look at what society is. We are being run by a bunch of whiny, sucky. It's a turbo flu. It's way more contagious than the flu. But who's it killing? It's killing really old people and people with immune deficiency problems. Those people, everyone. We're going to get the coronavirus at some point. And whether or not we develop immunity to it or not is going to determine whether or not we continue to exist as a race, the human race, black, white, Asian, Arabic, doesn't matter. We're a human race. There's only one race. And we all need to get this thing and get it over with. But what we've done so far is put off the inevitable. We've put off the inevitable. Everybody's going to get it, and we're all going to deal with it at some point, and we're all going to get our outcome. Short of a vaccination coming through the pike in the next 3 to 6 months, I can almost book that everybody at some point is going to get this virus, and we're all going to have to deal with it. So, what are we doing? What are we waiting for? Our board's dead. They're empty. The hospitals are empty. You ask any doctor around, and they'll tell you the same thing. They'll say, "Oh, this is because they don't want to go get a coronavirus." Coronavirus? Come on, seriously, who's dying? People over the age of 75 and people with a compromised immune system. Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to shut down the world for a small percentage of the population. We're all going to get it.
Yeah.
It's going to happen whether we like it or not. It's not going away. It's there. It's out in the world. It's going to be spread no matter what we do. How about we just get back to life and deal with it?
Right.
So,
right.
Baseball, obviously everything's going to be affected, but everybody's scared to get sued. They're all scared to be held responsible because everybody wants to sue and everybody wants to cancel and everybody wants to point fingers. Like, please, give me a break.
So
I don't even want to turn on the computer half the day as I wake up in the morning. Am I in the mood to deal with all these people and all their nonsense?
Do you honestly see a season going forward next year then?
Yeah, I do. Because I think, within the next 6 months we'll have a vaccination. Everybody will get over it. Maybe they'll come up with some super waiver that doesn't hold anybody like they always do. They'll call each other names. They'll say it's making compromise. Hopefully the players will realize how badly they screwed up in the last one and understand that they can afford, when the average salary is north of $3.5 million and rookies are making $500,000, they can all afford their own massage therapist. And you know what? They already have too many days off. I mean, it's so smart. If I was them, I would do the same thing. Your season's already screwed. Just completely torch it, but do it the right way. Go pick your fight against the owners right now and get it rolls around. You guys are really, truly on your way to solving this collective bargaining thing and be done and ready to play. I think they're going to play next year for sure. I don't think they're going to play this year.
Perfect. That's what we like. As brutal as us for fans, but I definitely like your. I have to agree with you. Honestly, I don't think there'll be any sports, to be honest, this year. I think they just need to cancel it all and just wait till next year.
They're all scared, bro. They don't want to take the responsibility. And who wants to watch freaking sports with nobody in the stands? You might see it on TV, like what you in a green screen is. I like the Korean baseball league. I like how they put blow up dolls in the
I did hear about that, yeah.
and put masks on them. They've got COVID masks on blow up dolls. It's hilarious.
I heard about that.
That's hilarious. That's great.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's their replacement stairs. They put as everybody, they put blow up dolls because they wanted to feel like the players to feel like they had fans in the seats, but
yeah, it's hilarious, dude. And now everybody's offended because oh my god, oh, is that what I think it is? Oh, it's a sex toy with the doll. Oh my God, that's offensive. You drive down to QEW here in Toronto, and they got this company called Pink Cherry, saying, celebrating the whole notion of these toys and the adult paraphernalia, and it's saying, hey, Pink Cherry, call out your own name. It's like, it's great. Hilarious.
It is hilarious, definitely. But
It really is.
but is there any social media? Anything you're doing now that you want our audience to follow you by?
No, you know what? I'd like people to just ignore me on social media, to be honest with you. I'm getting ready to cancel all my social media accounts anyways. What's going on in the world right now, the cancellation, thing, and the way people are treating one another, like literally, I'm a gnat's away from, like, just push and pause on everything. I wake up every
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Don't listen to me. Just leave me alone. And if you like baseball and you think kids are great, you might see some beyond that. I don't care. It don't matter to me. I'm almost done with this whole thing. The social media experiments for me is just about.
So, Greg, I want to ask you a question then, because I hear you on the don't follow me. Give me something on social media. Give me something on the internet that I can learn from. If you don't want me to follow you, give me something that you think will be beneficial for humanity to learn. Give me a website. Give me a Twitter handle. I don't care what it is. But if you tell me what that is, what I should learn about, and I'm going to research.
There's a lot of people out there that are angry in the world, and I get it. And and I look at the world, and I'll be honest with you, I look at the world from a different lens, man. I'm the son of a good cop. Wow. Right? They're saying, oh, don't profile me, don't label me. And yet, that's exactly what they're doing to police officers, based on 1%, if that, of the police officers in North America, let alone the world. They're labeling those men and women of all races, or excuse me, I didn't correct myself. We are the human race. There is only one race. Okay? Black, white, doesn't matter. We're all human race. So whatever color you are, whatever creed you are, whatever religion you are, if you're a law enforcement officer, you are being labeled on social media. You're being profiled on social media based on like 1% of the people in your profession. That hardly seems fair coming from a group of people that are bitching and moaning about being profiled when we're talking about stats that are 70+% accurate. I know who my friends are. I know who my friends are. I know what my friends stand for. I know what my family stands for. And you know what? I'm done, man. I'm just tired of this. I don't want to turn on my social media every morning and deal with all this crap. What I really miss is pictures of people's cats and what they were having for dinner.
Oh,
Man, do I miss that crap.
it's all hate nowadays.
They don't think they're a social activist. They don't think they're a journalist, and they all want to get like glads and likes and woke points and all this other nonsense crap. And you know what's going to happen at the end of the day? When it comes time to vote, they're going to vote their bottom line, whether they like it or not. And all they do is talk smack. And I'm just done. I've had enough. had enough. I love everybody until you prove to me that you're a person that I should love.
Right.
So give me a site to learn from. Give me something that give me anything. I'm gonna go research it. I don't care what it is.
I just thought I did. That's about all I got, my man.
You don't.
I'm no
Well, you're
anybody
giving
else.
me. All right. So I hear that. I understand what you're saying. That there's a lot of angry people, and that there's a lot of people getting pigeonholed into being good or bad, and cops and getting profiled on social media. How do you juxtapose that with people of color dying and the kind of there is a deep look as a person of color in this country in dealing with police and authority. Like I've raised money for police in the past, and one bad apple shouldn't spoil the bunch. I understand that, but the saying goes, one bad apple spoils the bunch. That's the saying. So how do we?
You're asking me for a reason why I'm getting on social media, okay? I don't have the same personal experiences as other people in the world. I don't discount what they're saying. All I know is what I know about my father as a police officer, what I know about the statistics that are being put out by the Washington Post that I think is a pretty valid journalism spot, what's being put out by the Department of Justice, the FBI. I am sympathetic to anybody that has a story of loss, of marginalism. And you know what? I'm no genius. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. You know what? I've got a small group of people. I got a little family. My family is being able to put a smile into when I'm reading about all this negativity. And the part that breaks my heart the most is the fact that people are using social media as a way to make themselves feel better. Like I said, retweets, likes, follows, all this kind of stuff. You look at people who are all of a sudden their history on their social media pages, and they've never said a word about the topic before. And I think to myself, this seems kind of freaking convenient to me. Seems kind of convenient to me. If you've been angry, if you've been marginalized, if you've been upset, if you've been an activist, then you've been an activist, and I can respect the hell out of that. But if all of a sudden you're jumping on bandwagon after bandwagon and causing trouble and spewing negativity into the world, it's hard for me to want to be a part of that. And that's why I really am rethinking and we're so off topic. We were talking about baseball, and now we're talking about the world, and I don't want to do that. I just want to talk about ball. I hope you guys are respectful of this interview.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Greg, I can dig it. I can dig it, Greg. I got you, man.
No, we got you.
I can dig it. I understand.
Hey, I can say this. We're all in agreement here. We want what both me and my co-host, both of my co-hosts, I mean, we want what you want. We want the same. We all want unity. We don't saying, I mean, it's ridiculous. We all just want unity.
It doesn't need to be a part of the interview then.
No, and
I get moved to tears almost every single day when I see what's going on out
right
there on both sides.
Same.
I don't want it to be a part of the interview. I hope you'll edit it out. I just think baseball is baseball.
No!
Leave it with that.
Greg,
Let's be respectful of it.
Greg, I think what you said was great. I listen.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you said is great.
Listen.
I appreciate it.
The detachment from social media coming from. Like, why aid in the negativity and the just the piss, shit, and corruption that's all over social media? I wanted to get a viewpoint. I wanted to see, like, I think the thing of it is that we're coming from different places of thought because we're all getting our information from different places. And I wanted to know, like, where do you get your information from? Because I just, if we're not learning from each other, then we're not growing as a society. And that's the whole point, I think, of humanity.
Well, close friends of mine, of all colors and creeds and religions, and we smash each other in the forehead about certain viewpoints. I just think that as it relates to the interview itself, I would just appreciate that we stay on the baseball tip. If you guys want to have conversations off the record about politics and life, I'm happy to engage you. World matters. I'm radical. So I don't have a problem with it. I said it. I loved watching Jose Bautista get punched in the face, and I will say that over and over again. It made me giggle. Still makes me giggle. I keep it on my cell phone. I keep it on my cell phone. In fact, I have a framed picture in my house of Jose Bautista with the bat flip, and the frame actually says, "You are the flip to play baseball."
I love it.
So, like I said, boys, I'm cool to discuss politics. Just keep it about the baseball, if you don't mind.
No problem. We can certainly do that, and I'd love to. I would definitely love to have you on again. I'm not saying there is going to be ball, but if there is, politics aside, if there is, God forbid, please, I want their season just like you do. If there is, I would still love to have you come back on, and we can actually talk about ball being played. But if not, then I would like to have you on next year when I know ball will.
And I will tell you, and you can even call me up and say, John, you said there wouldn't be a season, and there was. I'll be like, look, dude, I'm eating crow, man. You'll get me to admit I was wrong, and I'll be a fall season. What do you got to say about it now? I'll be like, damn, I was wrong about that one. I'm that guy. I'll give it to you. But you trust me. If you guys do the right thing, you'll have me. I'll be available to you all the time. If you don't, this will be it.
Oh yeah, no worries, and we will definitely do that. I mean, so yeah, I mean, you got this straight from us. I mean,
got tons of them. Trust me.
Right. So.
Straight all the time. Just make sure that man, this is such a dicey place to live right now, man. You can't say nothing. It's like nobody respects one another's opinion anymore. It's like,
right.
Oh man, I don't like you, so I don't like your opinion, so I want you to die in a fire, and I want your family's awful.
I know it is awful.
Not America.
It is. It's not. It's not.
Look,
it's not.
I don't agree with half the things that my best friends say, but we agree to disagree, and we still love each other.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. I mean,
of course.
And that's the way.
It is. It's
so.
It's how this country was built.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agree to disagree, but move on.
Right. But yeah, definitely, we're going to let you go so you have a good night and get some rest.
Thank you.
But we definitely enjoy your opinion. I'm glad we had you on. I'm serious on that because your opinions needed to be heard, and that's why we.
Thank you, boys.
So.
I'll look forward to hearing the finished product, and I hope we can talk again.
Definitely, and
Absolutely.
so do we. We appreciate it. Thank you again.
Cheers.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
We just like you. If you look back in the shows, we had C.J. Wilson talk about when this first happened with the marches and all that. Yeah. After what happened with the first thing that happened in Minnesota, we value here opinions. That's we all agree on one thing: unity. I mean, I'm glad. It's glad hearing that somebody else wants what we want here.
Your boy, your boy is awesome because he keeps little guys real cute.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
She's going to be 9 months.
How old?
9 months.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's why we do the show. We all want one thing: unity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't want it to get to that far, but that's
Listen,
but hey, it is what it is. It's value their opinion.
I think the one thing that we've got to do in this country is we've got to listen to other voices, and we've got to, whether it's easy or not, voices have to be heard because that's the point of having a democracy.
And I agree with him. That's what this society has gone to. It's all one-sided now. If you're not on one side, then like he said, you need to go be killed or something. He's right. It's tragic.
It's I think, and I understand your point, but I think it's also perception too. Like, I just think that we're used to hearing less voices than we have been hearing. I think we're hearing more voices, and because of that we're hearing more voices, in somehow because of social media and because everybody has a venue to say something, whether one or two people hear it or thousands of people hear it or someone hears it on the dark web. That kind of remains to be seen, but I think even though there's a lot of even though there's a lot of voices that are being heard, we can't be afraid to say what we feel. And when we say what we feel, we have to be able to welcome the challenge people are going to challenge what we say. And that's just a part of life, and especially now, where we're at. So I'm glad he felt comfortable to say what he felt.
I'm glad
too. He allowed us to challenge it.
I'm glad too. I really am. I'm just going to go even here. So we got 9 more minutes to talk about what's going else on.
All right.
So we'll end the show at 11.
All right.
But do you think he's getting another job? Have you heard anything yet from him? I sure as heck haven't. He's been silent.
No. It would be hard. Kaepernick getting a job now, you gotta wonder, can he still play? I would say, yeah. He's probably the healthiest veteran ever. He hasn't played in a couple of years. Would it be for posterity's sake? On his part in the NFL, and he told everybody, basically, yo, this is personal. I want to go back for me. We all have to respect that. I think if he can go back for him and he can find a way to balance the politics of what he's done for this country and compete, really weird to say. Like, he's got to go back for him, and it's because you want to say, like, he's a symbol of the movement. He is the face of sports.
That started it all. Yeah, back in 2016.
He's the face ego with playing quarterback. There's ego with playing a sport at a high level, and there's got to be a me part of it. And when he goes back, if he goes back, if he wants to go back, that can't be because of the movement. That's got to be for him. And I don't know the answer to how do you juggle both. I don't know the answer. And I don't think he knows the answer. So I hope that he does play, because I think for him, I think for the sake of the movement, he's got to play. But I think for him, he's got to do for himself. And what that looks like is going to be up to Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Because people like me and you on the outside, and coaches and owners and marketing, and everybody's going to have a lot to say about what that looks like. From the NAACP to the NFL. What does that look like? I think ultimately that's going to be up to Colin Kaepernick. And I think if he plays, all sides are going to have to live with what that looks like at the end of the day, So, that's my 2 cents,
And what another story, too, I want to get a little bit into as well. It just broke, I think it broke, Adam there requesting a trade. Did you ever request one?
No. I was a blocking fullback who made base salary for my entire career. I've never requested a trade. I don't know what it's like to request a trade. He must be good to request a trade. I guess he has a lot of abilities and a lot of confidence in his abilities to request a trade. I think personally, maybe he doesn't like his all right, if I'm thinking about it, if I'm trying to get into the mind of Jamal Adams being a former player, what I would say is this. If I'm requesting a trade from the team I'm on, I'm going to request a trade. And I'm good enough to request a trade because I know that my value is good enough that other places will want my value, right? This team, whatever's happening there, on the field and off the field, he's done. From a player standpoint, from that division is wide open.
It is.
It is so wide open that you can't say, I don't care. And it was, if the biggest question in the NFL right now from an analyst perspective is who's going to win the AFC East, right? That's like the biggest question because it is wide open. And you would say, like, based on last year's success, you could say Buffalo. When I watched the Buffalo,
you see how many hits that dude takes?
Listen, quarterbacks aren't crazy. Like, no, I've met a couple of crazy quarterbacks.
I get your point on that. But do you see how I'm talking about on the football field though? Do you see how many hits he gets? Experience
is that, like, for people, for laymen, right? You watch that's directing the whole thing. So really, you're watching the eyes of this person who's saying, okay, cut the camera or whatever to what? So we want to get this perspective. Cut to the coach here. Cut to this graphic. You're watching someone else's perspective, but playing in it and being on both sides of it. You're watching the huddle, or you're watching them break the huddle. I'm watching how they line up. I'm watching the progression of what they lined up in before. I'm watching what the quarterback says. If you can cut to what he says, I know tag words that I've heard, so I kind of know. I have an idea of where the play is going based upon what he said, based upon what a safety is checked to or a linebacker is checked to. Like I have intimate knowledge of the progression of that play and the cuts between. And I can tell you, the person who's played that game, and I'm watching it now. Josh Allen is the craziest quarterback I have ever seen, and I'm in love with how he plays. He's out of his goddamn mind. And I don't know if they can hone that in, he'll be the most amazing quarterback. Like, I have fun watching him. That game, the Houston-Buffalo game, if you watch that, if you analyze that game, and you analyze the quarterback play, and the quarterback calls, that was a wild card. He's not just a gunslinger because he can run. Josh Allen is like he's an enigma, and he's got to be something that offensive coaching staff they've spent the whole offseason trying to figure out, and they're still trying to figure it out because that man is something else, and they've been insanely talented, and they've done great things. Well, I'm sorry. They're batshit crazy. And they remind me of him. And I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to go that far. But I'm intrigued by Josh Allen. I'm intrigued by his life. And I want to know more about him because I think he's the craziest player I've ever seen at that position. He's one of the craziest ones. And I've met crazy quarterbacks. So what I'm saying is, if you want to leave that division, basically I'm going to bring it all the way back to Jamal Adams leaving. If you want to leave that division, being in the state that it's in, that there is a high probability, no matter what team you're on, if you have a solid chance at the playoffs, and you still want to get out of there, you want to trade, because there's no way they're going to trade Jamal Adams to Buffalo or to Miami or to New England. He's not going there, right? He's not going to those places.
Same question before we end it off here. No. I was going to ask you that same question. Where do you think his destination?
Just ownership. When you leave a place, you're leaving everything, right? Because you just think like there's nothing. So in your heart of hearts, you don't think that this team can go to the playoffs in the state that division is going to be in to win. You don't think there's any success personally and collectively, top to bottom, to step. And what I'm saying is, I'm not going to put any stock in any rookie quarterback at all. I won't put a stock so. Let's say Miami is the second best team. Wholesale, nah, we're not. Yeah, we can't win. So you didn't trade me, so now I'm going to go play. Because there's no, it's up for grabs. It's genuinely, it is implicitly, genuinely up for grabs. You can win that division. You can be a high seed. There's nothing to tell you on paper that you don't have a chance to do that. Because there just isn't. Because the best team in that division, based on last year, has the most answers. They have a lot of answers. They got a lot of questions they got to answer. So there's a lot. I don't want to go any more deeper. And I think I've
No, you're good. You did good. You did it as what you thought what could be possible as a former player. Whether
he's done.
Yeah.
It's all whatever is there. There's nothing there for him. That mean for him, who knows? But that division's wide open. He's not thinking about the playoffs.
No. Where do you see him as a destination point? Where do you see him going?
Well,
I want to say Bucks, but I'm being biased. But I can't really say that because I know the Bucks will have to empty a lot of salary just to get him.
No, but I think the one thing the Bucks had last year that they hung their hat on was their defense. I think they got a good young defense.
They do.
I think so.
Along with those veterans of Shaq Barrett, JPP, and Sue still there.
I don't think I don't think that they. I think he's gonna have to, if he gets traded, if they let that go down, it's gonna have to be somewhere based on need, like a real need. And I think that's kind of where he's gonna. That's where he should look. Where I bet it's where his agent's looking. So.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you this before we end off tonight. Follow us on the show with Byron and Eric. Also the same name.
No, but I'll find it now. I make myself notes all the time.
Perfect.
So.
And we're also on all podcasting apps from Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. So we're there. Also,
that obviously I can't replace Eric, but I'm glad that I was able to help him out, and I hope wish him well. I'll be listening in on Friday because it was awesome.
Definitely,
Thank you for having
we
me.
want you to listen in. Yeah, we want you to listen in. Keep following. Keep posting. Get ourselves out there. That's what we want. Get noticed.
You got it.
We appreciate it. I thank you for your time as well.
We're all humans here, and I'm glad to help you. And I got a kick out of watching your baby tug on you while you were doing the show. So.
Yeah, thank you. 9 months. Sometime I know me and Eric do. We want to get you on sometime at actual interview wise, as for football. So. We hope that can go down. We hope that can go down soon as well.
Anytime.
Perfect. But you and your wife have a good night. Get some rest.
You got it.
And have a wonderful night.